Hello, today we are going to talk about, or we're going to go over this study guide. So if you have any issues, feel free to um, look through this video, find the problems you're stuck with, and hopefully I can help you. So, this first video will probably be about 15 minutes. Things you might need: obviously your study guide. You can get it on Edmodo in the Try To exam folder. Look for that. You're probably going to want some graph paper or scrap paper. I have graph paper, and you're probably going to want a calculator handy. Alright, so let's get started. So, very first problem, and when I go over these multiple choice, I'm going to try to show you why some of these questions aren't good, or some of these choices aren't good. Okay, so this is a best fit line or a trend line. Okay, and it is multiple choice. So if you look, all of these dots are in the same spot, so I'm really looking for the best line of fit. So the one that represents the data the closest. I'm going to try to keep this in focus. It keeps bumping around. But it's pretty straightforward. The one that encompasses all of the points the best. Notice in this one, all the points are lower. Same thing here. Every point here is higher. And this one is actually the one that kind of fits through the middle of the data there. The answer is D. Okay, so it's the closest representation of all those dots. All right. Question 2, piecewise. So when piecewise functions are when we did the Batman and the Superman, we had a whole bunch of lines we were trying to draw, and we had to put them together. This one is, well, it's a multiple choice test, so let's take a look at the choices here. Okay. Try to get both these in here. Let's see here. So I have, hopefully, this will start to zoom in. There we go. X to the fourth between basically less than -2 and bigger than -2. So in all of these lines, my pivot point, or all these graphs, my pivot point is -2. Okay? And actually, what's nice about this, if you know that a function has to pass the vertical line test. In other words, if I draw a vertical line, it cannot intersect at 2 points. So knowing that right away, A is not a function, so A is not an answer. And same thing with D. I can draw a line here, okay, and it passes through my point more than my function more than once. It's not a function. So A and D are out here. The other great thing about looking at this pivot point is that here, when it's less than -2, that line should be positive. X plus 4 is a positive line. And so right away I can see the answer is C, because at my pivot point here, this part of the line is negative, and my very first one needs to be positive. Okay, so that tells me right away that C is the answer. And if you look, X plus 4, if I try to extend this line, I am going to go through 4. This is probably, A is probably the best wrong answer, because it is both those lines, but it is not graphing them just at the pivot point. Okay, and the second one is -X, which this line is definitely -X. So my answer is C. All right. Systems of equations, number 3. So I'm looking at that now, and looks like I got y equals 2x plus 2 and y equals -x plus 3. So I just have to graph these two lines. Let's see. So plus 2. I should have like if you look at this y-intercept, I should have one of these be at plus 2, and there is nothing at plus 2 for the y-intercept, so A is not an answer. B could be. So 2x plus 2 looks like that has a slope of 2x, so that one's good. And then -x minus 3. There's -3. These are going down 1 over 1. So C is the answer. I'm assuming A and B and D are down here. See if we can figure out why these aren't the right answer. Again, the first one was 2x plus 2. 2x plus 2. So that is at 2x or at plus 2, but the slope of that first line should be positive, and it's not. So B is out. And then same thing here. The plus 2 line is negative again, which is not what our equation states. So D is out as well. All right. Question 4. Write an expression that is equivalent to. So this, to me, is the Chapter 8 stuff we've been working on. This is a quotient to power rule. All right, so I know that 3 cubed is 27. They're probably trying to get you to do 3 times 3 is 9, but 3 cubed is 27, so A and B are out. Okay, so I got 27 in the top, and this is a power to power rule, so x squared to the third, I multiply these two guys together, and that's x to the sixth. Again, they try to do the add exponents for C. C is out. D is my answer. Okay, should probably straighten this out a little bit. All right. I apologize if I get off and you guys can't see the problem working. I'm trying to look at the screen and do the math at the same time. All right, simplify the expression. Again, this is a Chapter 8 problem. What they're probably getting you to do, what they want you to do wrong here is move the 3 down as well like they did in D. That is incorrect. We have been talking about that being a common mistake. Fraction bar. Okay. The 3 stays put. The C to the negative second has a negative exponent, so I'm going to move it to the denominator and make the exponent positive. And the M stays put because it has a positive exponent. 3m to the fourth c squared is b. Okay. Simplify the expression. Again, Chapter 8 stuff. All like bases add exponent stuff here. So I'm going to take care of the coefficients first, which are 5 and 3 and 1 if you want to count that. 1 times 5 times 3 is 15. A to the 8th times a to the 4th, like bases. When I'm multiplying, add the exponents. That's a to the 12th. Okay. And b to the 4th. So 15, a to the 12th, b to the 4th, that is D. If you know that you got to multiply these together, that should hopefully eliminate the C. And like bases, add exponents. The 32 is not an option A. There's not even an exponent on any of the A's here, or it's definitely bigger than 1, so that's out. So we get D. Again, Chapter 8 stuff. This whole thing, 9, x to the 9th to the 0 is 1, which leaves me with x to the 7th squared. Power to power rule, multiply those. That's x to the 14th. That's C. Okay? All right. Let's see if I can get that zoomed in a little without making it go haywire. Okay. All right. We do have a scientific notation problem here. So we're multiplying numbers that are in scientific notation. We multiply the 9 and the 2, very similar to multiplying coefficients. 9 times 2 is 18. And then we have 10 to the 6th times 10 to the 8th. That's a like bases add exponents. So times 10 to the 14th. Okay. Luckily, that's not an answer choice because that's not quite done yet. Remember, the leading term in a scientific notation problem has to be between 1 and 10. And 18 is not. So I have to move the decimal back 1. So that's 1.8. So that leaves B and C out. So I'm up to A or D. So regardless if you remember what to do with the 14, whether I add 1 or subtract 1, obviously 49 is not the answer. Okay, so it is 15. Remember, moving back, and somebody, I believe it was Graham, said left, make it larger. So left large, so that's 1.8 times 10 to the 15th, A for that one. So number 9, we're going to be simplifying the expression. And that is another multiple choice question. Okay, try to get that to zoom in. There it is. A to the negative 4th, b to the negative 11th, a squared, b to the 15th. So if it's me, I think I want to do the like basis subtract exponents and put everything in the numerator. So a to the negative 4th divided by a squared, subtract the exponents when you divide. So negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. And negative 11 minus negative 15 is negative 11 plus 15, which is positive 4. Okay, and then move the a down. So b to the 4th, a to the 6th. Looks like a is the answer. Okay. If you notice that you had one of them negative, that would get rid of that, because there's and you can't have negative exponents for an answer. Okay. Can't have negative exponents in your answer, so that's out. So yeah, I guess good answers you were left with were A and B, and then you said to realize that you're going to have to move one of them. Okay. So this is the stuff we did with the sub. I'll cover it again on Monday as well. Match the function rule with the graph of the function. If I remember correctly, this is probably the hardest one, just as far as multiple choice goes. So 2 times 5 to the x power All right, if I plugged in 0 for x, right? So x, y, if I plugged in 0 for x, that would be 5 to the 0, which is 1, which would give me a y value of 2. So it looks like that may cross at 2. It looks like that may cross at 2. It looks like that may cross at 2. And that does not cross at 2. So D is out. And if you remember, C's got to be out too because this is a positive exponential function. There's not a decimal here. The general form is that they do this. Okay, so C is out. That leaves me with these two, and so we got to be careful. So let's see what 1 gives us. So let's plug in 1. X is 1. All right, and that's going to give me a value of 10, right? So 5 to the first is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so 1 to 10 would be about yay. 1 to 10, so this is definitely my answer, B. Okay, kind of a trial and error there. All right. Now we're into the short answer, so no more easy multiple choice. We're going to have to actually do these problems. This is another problem we're going to have to cover on Monday. But for these problems, 3,300 principal is what you're starting with. You're earning 2% compounded annually. That's once a year after 5 years. So they're going to give you 2% every year for 5 years. Okay? So the initial value, what I start with is this, 3,300. I'm earning 2%. This will be the trick that we learn on Monday. That's 100% of my 3,000 and the 2% interest. So it's 1.02. I'll explain that more on Monday. Okay? And then annually. So I'm once a year for 5 years. My exponent is 5. These can be a little trickier if I say compounded quarterly or monthly. Well, I'll show you how to deal with that. Okay? And now this becomes a calculator problem. I can type it in just like I see it. 3,300 times 1.02 to the 5th power, and that gives me a value of $3,643.47. Okay, I round it up because it's money. All right, so again, you need an initial value, 2%. The biggest mistake kids make on this problem is writing it like this, times 0.02 to the 5th. That would just give you how much you made, but I want to know how much I have total. So if I did just do the 2%, it would give me a value of 343.47. And that's how much I made. I want to know how much I have in my account. So if I put the 1 in front, that makes it the 3,300 plus what I made to give me the total in my account. Okay? All right. That's number 11. All right. I'm going to make a mental note. Looks like number 10 I finished around, I think, about 9 minutes. Okay. So number 12, find the slope of a line that passes through the pair of points. Number 12, we just had to find the slope, I think. Yep. Number 12 said, yeah, the directions were find the slope of the line. So I just got to find the slope of this line. Here's a good point, and here's a good point. Are they counting by ones? Yes, they are. So this is down 1, forward 1. That's a slope of -1. So you can't see that. So down 1, forward 1 is a slope of -1. It's a negative direction. Not too bad. Find the slope for the line that passes through the given points. This is a y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to plug in y2, and that is 1 minus 5 over 10 minus 3. Y is on top, x is on the bottom. That's -4 over +7. So that is my slope of that line, -4/7. That will be it for the first video. I'll pick up 14 on the next one.